Hey guys, it's Derek from Pacific Coast Auto here in Japan, and we're taking a look at a year 2000 Land Cruiser Prado. And so this is the 95 series Land Cruiser. It is a 4-door with a turbocharged 3-liter diesel engine plus intercooler. This vehicle is one of my favorite vehicles that is this size that is available. In fact, this was on my short list of vehicles to buy before we bought our minivan. One of the only reasons I didn't go for one of these is because minivans are generally cheaper, but also the seats in this, although it is an 8-seater, the back seats are a little bit hard to get into if you have 2 car seats, and I had 2 car seats at the time. But this is just a fantastic vehicle. It looks good, it performs well. I love the 3-liter turbo diesel engine in it. You can also get it in gasoline if you like. I like how it's an 8-seater, but it's not as big as the full-size Land Cruiser. All around, very nice. So this one has 137,833 kilometers on it. It was bought from auction to export it to Canada. You can get this engine either intercooled or not intercooled. I think all the Prados are intercooler versions of it. I think they are. I could be wrong about that, so don't quote me on it. But nice large size intercooler will give you a little bit more power than the non-intercooled ones because your intake temperature will be lower. Kind of interesting how the intake works. I love cars, especially 4x4s, especially Toyota 4x4s that have a nice healthy hood scoop that's ready to eat up all of the bugs. No hood scoop on this one. They have a hidden hood scoop, which is right here, and right here. The air goes up through here and into here, and then into the hood scoop. Kind of a weird thing. I would kind of like the garishness of a proper hood scoop, but I can understand how hiding it kind of makes this vehicle more appealing to a broader audience, I suppose. Now it's a tall vehicle, so I can't close the hood one-handed. Gonna have to put the camera down so you guys get grass cam. Okay, so the coolant is good and the oil is good, and inside the engine room there is a sticker that says the timing belt was changed at just over 100,000 kilometers. I got a picture of that for the buyer of the car. Okay, so let's go over the auction sheet, and then I'll go around the exterior and then the interior. And a lot of these are in really good condition. They tend to handle mileage pretty well without getting all worn out. And then the engines are pretty fantastically reliable from what I have seen. So this is a year 2000 Land Cruiser Prado. This is a TX Limited. I just found out today, and shout out to Ben for helping me with this, but the TX and the TZ are the 8-seaters. The RX and the RZ are the 5-seaters. So you can get in 5 or 8 seats depending on how many you want. The 8-seater is by far the more popular one though. 3000cc diesel, auction grade 3.5 with an interior C. And actually the interior is quite nice, so I don't know why it's C. There are cigarette burns, but that's generally it. Okay, 137,833 kilometers on here. I think these would be good up to about 220, 250 for something that I would personally buy myself, but you can definitely drive them for longer than that without problems, I would think. Automatic transmission, auto AC. There's a rear heater controls, but there are no rear AC controls. There's vents in the rear, but no actual controls for the AC, so it's not a dual zone like, for example, High Aces or the actual full-size Land Cruisers are. Alloy wheels, power steering, power windows, ABS, and airbag, and then the report here, various scratches, dents, and paint fade. The whole left side is all paint faded, and I'll show you that in the, when I get to that point. Windshield rock chip, interior cigarette burn and dirty, and then looking here, there's a A3, which is a big scratch on the molding over here. The scratches on the front bumper, and then a repainted fender there, and scratches on the side sill here. So let's see those scratches on the side sill, because I didn't notice them earlier. They are down here. There you go. And then we will do the once around. Actually, these ones are a little bit faded paint too, and then here's the repainted one. Okay, so the faded paint is kind of the biggest problem with it, but the vehicle could be fixed up by spraying on some sort of a hard coating. Sort of like the alternative to waxing your car these days. You spray on the hard coating. There's like diamond finish or ceramic coating, or there are a couple of different names for it. And basically it's like a mild clear coat that you can put onto the car. It's going to brighten it up and make it nice and shiny again. And then the rest of the car doesn't really have that much damage on it, especially for the age. And then Land Cruisers can handle damage visually better than most other cars, because a Land Cruiser that has a couple of scratches and dings makes people smile and gives them a mental thumbs up, because Land Cruisers should go on adventures, and dings and scratches are proof that you have been on adventures, even if that adventure is just in a parking lot. Okay, good looks on the front. I like the fairly modern looking headlights, the bush guard on there, the word Prado. Prado is a good word, I think, for the trim. It is basically like a Land Cruiser for the rest of the world that's not actually going to go into the savannah or the Serengeti, not actually going to go climb up Mount Fuji. So you get a more comfortable vehicle here, and more economical, and then will last slightly less long if you were to take a bat to it than a real Land Cruiser would. Okay, so let's go into the front section here. Oh no, we usually talk about damages. I'll show you. You can see the A3 here. Okay, and I popped this open myself by accident. I was trying to prop the hood and it's right next to it. And then you can see on the corner here the lack of shininess. Okay, that's basically it for the whole body in terms of damages. Is the scratch there, scratch on the other side, and then the paint fade. Oh, this is a little bit weird. Not the reflection of me. I don't know what that is. Some sort of scratches on the window. Let me out! Let me out! I cut a little hole here. I don't know. Okay, interior. Power windows here. Cigarette burn there, and then cigarette burns on the seat. There's a number of them, but they're all really small, and so I guess that's better than having big cigarette burns, even though there are several. I personally could live with that. Retractable mirrors. They do their job. You get tweeters up here for your sound, and then speakers down there. I don't expect it to be super high-end audio. Steering wheel has little amount of wear. Power steering is good. Shifting feels good. Brakes feel a little bit soft, but I think it's just because, big vehicle, soft brakes is what people expect. Pretty normal looking gauges on here. It is selectable four-wheel drive, and I'm going to redeem myself here. High gear range locked, neutral, and low gear range locked. And so that's for locking differential. You also have a button here for power, which I don't understand why any person would ever want to not have the power on there. No, I don't need the power. I'm sorry, I like slower vehicles. And then second here means that you start in second gear. It's sometimes also called snow in some cars, and means that you're giving less torque to your drive wheels in the snow for the purpose of maintaining the traction without spinning the wheels. A little bit of a cigarette burn there, and two of them up here. E-brake is good. Okay, you get an analog clock for all you home brother millennials who don't understand what an analog clock is. And before you jump down my throat, I'm officially a millennial as well in the very last year, at 36 years old now. These are super rad. And rad is a word that most millennials don't know. It's short for radical, which is probably something I should stop saying, but it's a habit. This one here is a compass. So I guess that's kind of cool. Not very useful for that many people, but it is cool. And this one here shows you how much your vehicle is tilting forward and back, and how much it's tilting sideways. So it's sort of like a fighter pilot. And there should be a little marker on here that you can set your record. I think that would be super rad, super cool, super. I think it would be nice to have. It would be a nice feature. This is my favorite part. This is the last 12 hours what the temperature was. That's cool. Or last 12 hours what the barometric pressure was. I love it, but most people don't know what that means. Your altitude, and then this is altitude 200 is just a different rating. 5,000 would be, well, that would be the top of the world. We're technically not at the top of the world right now, so I don't really understand how that works, but maybe that's just showing you the scale, like that's the max that this vehicle can navigate. Average speed, this one would be pretty cool to see if you can consistently drive the same speed on a road trip. I would love that. Timer, that goes without saying, and then temperature as well. I like the altitude one, especially if you're going to be going on a road trip that goes up a mountain and then down, so you can visually see your mountain on there. Would be pretty cool. Place for credit cards or coins for toll booths. Has been smoked in, obviously. You get 2 cigarette lighter adapters. There's one regular cigarette lighter here, and then another adapter goes over here. Okay, I like the up high seats that you get in it. You feel nice and commanding while driving one of these, looking down at the people who drive the regular cars. But nowadays everybody drives an SUV or a crossover or something, so I guess that's not a truth anymore. It's a nice big sunroof. It's made out of glass. There you go. Into the back seats. Okay, so just going to show you this first. This is your rear heat. Press the button and then fan high and low, and then you can set the amount of heat that you actually get with this. And I believe the vents are underneath the seats here. Here's your seats, and this back can be adjustable for whatever you want. You get nice, good amount of leg room here. You're sitting up high. You can see the difference between the seat and the bottom there. Makes it a very comfortable car to be driving in. And I like how the seat belts are tucked in there. That's very cool. That could be a little bit bigger. And then these seats there's a handle here. Maybe that's not how it works. Here's how you use the seats. I know everything about this car. Okay, so flip that down and then pull this. And then that's how you can get into the back seat here, where the back seats are pushed up against the side. You don't get that drop off like you do on the front. You know how I was saying how like this part here is much higher than the ground. There's only about this much difference between the seat and the ground for the back, which means that your back seats are only for very tiny people or as a backup. And then they kind of get in the way of some of your cargo space if you put them in the up position. So it depends on how much you really want to put in here. But if you have these seats in, what you do is you pull. Oh no, you don't pull that yet. Okay. So unclip, and then once that's been unclipped, you can pull this, and then that one clicks into place. Do it again. Loosen out a bit. We're gonna see if we can do this one-handed. Yes. Time for winning. There we go. And then these flip up. And then here's your lack of trunk room, but still usable for a lot of things that you need to put in. And then here's what it looks like. So maybe about 10 inches between the cushion and the floor there. And then you don't get an awful lot of room in here. But it is better than nothing. And you can say, I have an 8-seater SUV. That, everybody, is going to be the end of the review here of the Land Cruiser Prado. The gasoline ones are much cheaper than the diesels. Gasolines are usually somewhere between about 200,000 yen and 400,000 yen, and then diesels are usually 800,000 yen to 1.2. So a big premium on the diesels, but the diesels are really a lot cooler and will retain better resale value as well. Okay, so there you have it. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, thank you so much, and have a nice day.